Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, got out of the campaign one day prior to the Super Tuesday vote, Bernie Sanders would have won every single state because Biden won by a little bit, and she didn't do well, but she took thousands and thousands of votes away in each state. If you add just a percentage of those votes back, that means that Bernie would have won easily the nomination. And I'm glad he didn't, because he had much more enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And he would have had a base, much smaller base than ours, but equally, I have to say this, equally as enthusiastic. This base doesn't like Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. I think we're going to get a lot of votes. We did last time. People were surprised. Primarily because of trade, because I know how other countries take advantage of us, and I understand that. And that's something that Bernie Sanders people really feel, because I understand trade. I've done USMCA now. I got rid of NAFTA, the world's worst trade deal. China tariffs. I mean, China had the worst year they've had in 67 years prior to the plague. The worst year they've had in decades and decades. And we had the best year we've ever had. But we took in billions from China. We never took in 10 cents from China. Never took in 10 cents. They took China for 25 years. And not only Obama, for 25 years, China was taking in anywhere between 200 billion with a B and $550 billion from the United States. I give them all the credit. Number one, for being smart and outfoxing all of the people that stood here and their representatives. But China, we built China. We helped build. We gave them $300, $400, $500 billion a year. Because before that, and before the World Trade Organization and they getting into it, China was flatlined. It was after that happened. And then they took advantage of us because we didn't have people that were smart enough to see. And by the way, Biden would be the worst of all of them, because his son took out $1.5 billion and he gets fees on $1.5 billion, which is millions of dollars a year. Give me a break. China will own our country if this guy gets elected. We can't let it happen. We can't let it happen. So we have a big one coming. And just to finish, enthusiasm. So they take the enthusiasm now out of the equation, because they're going to go knock on everybody's door. Here, would you sign this? Yeah, I'll sign it. Nobody knows who the hell is signing it. And they now want to have it where the signature doesn't have to be verified. No, that's right. The signature doesn't have to be verified. And then they're going to play the game that we're not patriotic.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election.
Right.
They're using COVID to defraud the American people, all of our people, of a fair and free election. We can't do that. And don't let them give you the post office stuff. The Postal Service, they do a great job, lose a lot of money. I've said, if they charged Amazon and these companies doing that a couple of dollars more a package that Amazon has to pay, not the customer, you know what would happen? Post office would start doing very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Amazon dumps all the packages. Why should we deliver it? We'll let the post office do it, lose a fortune. So if they charged Amazon, now of course he owns the Washington Post, so when I get bad stories in the Washington Post, I wonder why, right? I wonder why. But I just tell it like it is, right? I tell it like it is. We've accomplished more during the first 3.5 years of this administration. 300 judges by the end of the first year of appointed. President Obama was very nice to some 140 opening. Historically, no opening. President. The first question is how many judges? I said, because the other previous president, they might, it's a very important thing, federal judges. So I've appointed, we will have appointed 300, could be even more than that by the end of the first term. And I sat down, I said, first day, I said, how many judges do I get to appoint? They said, sir, 142. I said, 100, because you know what? He thought that. And the Republican, judges, and many, and we're going to have 300 great Supreme Court justices. I'm demanding, actually, a list. Let Biden put up a list of the judges he's going to appoint. They'll pick them out like I did. I had 25, and we're going to take it out of that list. And we're going to be announcing a list over the next couple of weeks with the judges that we had, plus we might add a few more, so you know exactly where we stand. He can't do it because he would appoint, it's not him, he has no choice. The radical left will demand that he appoints super radical left, wild, crazy justices going into the Supreme Court. Your American dream will be dead if that happens. It'll be dead. And the next, and by the way, the next president, so I've had two, some presidents have had none. I have had two in a relatively short period of time. But I will tell you that the next one could have 2, 3, 4, and even 5. The next president. This is so important. This is so, whether you're talking about life, whether you're talking about Second Amendment, whether you're talking about military, this is so important. We have to do this. We have to win this election. But we brought back manufacturing. We rebuilt our military. We wiped out ISIS. I mean, think of it. When I came, ISIS was all over Iraq. The Prime Minister of Iraq was in last week, and he said, I want to thank you for defeating ISIS. I said, now, are you talking about me or the United States? You. Because when you came into office, it was a mess. They were all over Iraq and Syria, and you defeated them, sir. I said, good. Tell that to the media, please. Would you do that? And he said, I will, so let's see if he does. But we passed the biggest tax cuts and regulation cuts in the history of our country. We replaced the worst trade deal ever made, NAFTA, with a great USMCA deal that's going to keep our companies here, and it's going to be treating us very nicely. And I wouldn't say the other two countries were thrilled with it, but they were happy enough. And we did that, and that's another thing. They said, you'll never be able to replace NAFTA. You'll never be able to get it. And I got it, and we got it through Congress. We fixed a lot of our broken and bad trade deals. We're getting $40 billion now from Japan. We fixed a horrible deal that was made with South Korea. Remember, I was a Hillary Clinton special. She said this will produce 250,000 jobs, and she was right. Except, unfortunately, the jobs went to South Korea, not to us. She said it would produce 250,000 jobs, and it did, to South Korea. And we stood up to China like nobody's ever stood up between the tariffs and the trade deal, which now, don't forget, when I made that, the ink wasn't dry before the China virus poured into our country, right? The ink wasn't dry, so I view that differently than I would have, because it's done very well. Last week they had the largest order of corn, the largest order of soybeans. They're doing things, they're very smart. A lot of people, because they see my attitude, a lot of people would say, we're not going to order. They do just the opposite. I got a call last week, sir. In fact, Sonny Perdue is here, the great Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture. There he is. Is that right, Sonny? I got a call. They ordered the largest, it was the largest order of corn in the history of our country. Twice. The largest order of corn, the largest order of soybeans. So here's how smart. Somebody else would say, running some country, they'd say, well, we're not going to do business with him. He's not saying nice things about him. China's very smart. Instead, they order more corn than we've ever thought possible, right, sir? order more soybeans than we ever thought possible. And now I have farmers calling me up, sir, we love China very much. Please don't be too tough on them. It makes it very difficult, Sonny, right? You know, we do too good a job sometimes. We've achieved American energy independence, and we're now #1 in the world by far. And I saw where these phonies, you know, they want to end everything we've done. They want to end it. They want to go to wind. They don't even know if they want to go to wind. I think they want to just basically close up our country because they're taking away our strength. But they want to do something, but you don't have, there is no such thing. Solar can't do it. I love solar, it's all fine. You know, very, very heavily expensive, very expensive. But they want to go to other forms of alternative energy, and I think that's okay, except we don't have that. And it's not going to power these massive factories. So we need, and hydro I love. It's one of my all-time favorites. Hydro I love, I have to tell you. That's the great dams. You don't see that too much. You know why the environmentalists say you can't build a dam there? But now we can, because we've done things that nobody thought were possible. Like, example, the Keystone Pipeline, we got that approved. The Dakota Access Pipeline, they were all bogged down, right? Right? I got it approved. We've got things that they said you couldn't get done. So we're energy independence, and they said we want to ban fracking. No fracking. They want to. How do you think they'll do in Texas, Oklahoma, North Dakota? Louisiana's going to love it. There's no fracking. There's basically, they want no fossil fuel whatsoever. Okay, no gas, no oil, no coal, no nothing. Okay, so they don't want anything. Now they're getting killed because a poll just came out in Texas. Texas wasn't happy. They want no guns, they want no oil and gas, and they want no God. No God. So it's no religion, no guns, right? No oil and gas. I don't think you're going to do too good in Texas. You know, George Washington could come back from the dead, and he could choose as his VP candidate the late, great Abraham Lincoln. And you're not going to win the state of Texas if you have no oil, no guns, and no religion. I don't think so. You're not going to win too many places. We eliminated Obamacare's horrible and very unfair individual mandate, which basically knocked out Obamacare. It knocked out Obamacare. We've protected your Second Amendment, so important. We've protected your Second Amendment. We've cut drug prices, first time in 51 years. We got drug prices down. Now I'm really I did a favored nations clause, meaning we pay the same price as the lowest country that has the best deal. The companies are going crazy, the drug companies. They're taking ads on me. I said, oh, I went to Mark Meadows. They said, Mark, they're killing me. They're spending, you know, they have nothing but cash, okay? Big Pharma, they call it, for a reason. There's nobody that gives the politicians more money than Big Pharma. Nobody, not even close. So I said, well, look, if you're not going to negotiate a fair deal, we're going to do a favored nations clause to the company for the biggest guys. They said, no, don't do that, favored nations. No, favored nations, because, you know, we have countries out there that are paying a tiny fraction of what our people are expected to pay. So if you have a country, Germany or others, they make, by the way, UK, all of Europe, Canada is 50%, 50% less. In fact, people leave our country, go to Canada, pick up their drugs, and they come back home. Can you believe it? This is the kind of difference. So I say, no, I want a favored nations clause. I also want a rebate clause, a rebate where instead of the money going to the middleman, who have to be the richest people in the world, they get so much. They get more money, frankly, than the drug companies. At least the drug companies make a product. So I wiped out the rebate where now it goes to people, and I instituted what's called a favored nations clause. And it's very simple. You have that in deals. It's whatever the lowest price in the world. We're the biggest purchaser of prescription drugs by far in the world. So whatever the lowest price is that other countries pay. So if you have a country paying 10 cents for a pill and we're paying $2.50, and it's not such an exaggeration, believe me, then we get it for 10. So what happens is that doesn't work, so they'll go up a little bit, we'll come way, way down. So I said, favored nations, I want to pay what the lowest price is anywhere in the world. We're the biggest purchaser. We want to favored nations. They had a heart attack, and then I signed it. They didn't believe it. And now what they're doing is they have ads, millions and millions of dollars worth of ads that I've been horrible to the people because of that, and I believe in socialism. Socialism. You know why? Because some of the socialistic countries get the lowest price. So the only thing I have with socialism is I want to get their price. Okay, that's the only thing. Other than that is our country will never be a socialist country. So we cut drug prices, and you could get cuts. You could get cuts. You could get cuts as much as 50, 60, or 70%, maybe even more than that, on prescription drug prices. And wouldn't it be a kick, I'll use this, wouldn't it be a kick in the ass? If I lost and Sleepy Joe is president, and this thing kicks in right about soon, right, in 30, 40 days, people wake up after the election. Boy, Biden's done a great job. My drug prices just went down by 70%. What a great president he's been. He's great. And Sleepy Joe would say, I thought about that, but everybody knew about favored nations. But nobody had the guts to do it. And I'll tell you, I was called by many politicians, please don't do it, sir. Please. I said, why? They don't want to tell me why. I know why, because, they're politicians and they've been helped out. And I guess we have to understand that too. But the fact is that we signed a favored nations clause and a rebate clause, and your numbers are going to come down 60, 70%. And I hope you remember that on November 3rd, because nobody but me would ever do it.